Welcome to the Golf Smarter podcast, Bo.
Good to be here, Fred. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thanks for turning me on to this topic. I'm really excited about having a full conversation finally with you to talk about Alister MacKenzie's Sharp Park in San Francisco and how there's a fight going on trying to keep it open, right? But we'll get to that in a little bit in detail.
Well, the thing that is amazing about Sharp Park is the fact that it's still there 86 years or so after MacKenzie conceived it. It's been open for 84 years now. And what a lot of people may not fully appreciate is when you go back and look at the historical documents, this is one of the greatest courses MacKenzie ever dreamt up. And the fact that it's been open to the public, accessible, affordable, enjoyed for generations is a true miracle. And it's fallen into disrepair. There's no question about that. But now we see on the horizon the prospect of bringing it back to life with public philanthropy, with responsible stewardship. And, you know, Sharp Park is really part of a larger project to restore habitat for the endangered species that live there and to keep alive this true community center. This has been such a focal point of life in Pacifica for almost a century now, since 1932 when the course opened. And the community's rallied behind it, tremendous public support, and we're going to get there. It's a long process. It's been going on almost for 22, 23 years now, starting way back in the early 90s. But we are so close to making this dream come true. It's very, very exciting times for us.
Well, anything that, I can do, and this is my little contribution to help get the word out there, to help get more power behind this fight.
One of the things that, obviously we'd like people to do is to join us. And by that, we'd love them to make contributions. We're a tax-exempt entity, but more importantly, just to know about this. People who may live on the East Coast or the Midwest or in Southern California. San Francisco Public Golf Alliance is the entity that's leading the fight to restore Sharp Park. Our URL, www.sfpublicgolf.org. And, of course, the Alister MacKenzie Foundation, which is the philanthropic arm that is going to be doing the fundraising to make all this happen.
Can we talk about Alister MacKenzie for a while?
We can talk about Alister MacKenzie for a couple of months. No problem. We wouldn't even finish the subject.
Well, then let's get started with this. How in the heck did he get involved with this golf course?
Well, that is a good story in itself. MacKenzie, was all over the world. And, he's buried in Santa Cruz, about 70 miles south of San Francisco. It's where he made his final home. And it became his final resting place right near Pasatiempo, one of the great courses he designed. Mm-hmm. But San Francisco has been blessed throughout its history with unbelievably creative leadership. And in the 1920s, of course, the city had built Harding Park, which people today know is going to be the site of the PGA Championship in 2020. President's Cup's coming back in 2025, and it's had a long and storied history. Harding, when it opened in 1925, was perhaps the greatest municipal golf course built by human hands in the world. St. Andrews will give the sheep credit for that, maybe with some rabbits and some wind, but Harding was built by people. And it was quickly overrun. The city knew they needed another golf course. And so John McLaren, who was then the head of our Recreation and Park Department, the man who created Golden Gate Park out of sand dunes, he turned to a fellow Scotsman named Alister MacKenzie. He knew him. He knew of his work. He knew of his reputation. And MacKenzie was still working on the Cypress Point job when McLaren approached him about doing something at this piece of land that had been donated to the city in Pacifica. And listen to this. MacKenzie agrees to design the golf course for free, provided that if the city ends up building it, carrying his plan into reality, they will hire him and his firm to do the construction work. And that's exactly what happened. He designed the golf course, and the design was done, finished maybe in 28, 29. And then by 1930, the city hired MacKenzie and Robert Hunter Jr. and Chandler Egan to build what was then and is now one of the greatest municipal golf courses in all the world.
And is it always meant to be municipal course?
Absolutely. In fact,
is there anything in the wording that said you cannot make this private?
That's right. The land was given to the city by the family of a lawyer named George Sharp, who, interestingly enough, made his fortune coming to San Francisco right after the gold rush, dropped dead in a courtroom, pleading a case in 1882, and his wife donated the land, wanting it to be and stipulating that it shall be a public park for public recreation. And that's the land that McLaren took with MacKenzie and created Sharp Park.
And named it after him.
That's right.
As a tribute, or was it stipulated?
No, it was not stipulated. That was a tribute. A lot of people, interestingly enough, call it Sharp's Park. It's not right. It's Sharp Park, no S on the end of it. And it's had that name, and it will always have that name. It's one of the great gifts from a great age. And, from the day it opened, it's been full of golfers, full of community meetings and gatherings. There's a very lively bar there, a real culture that's grown up around the golf course. And, one of the things that, sparked the current battles we've been fighting and winning consistently has been that there are some endangered species that are there on the property, the California red-legged frog and the San Francisco garter snake. Well, guess what? Those are freshwater species. So what did Alister MacKenzie do when he created Sharp Park? He took an inhospitable sand dune that was a brackish salt marsh, areas that these species could not possibly thrive in. And he transformed that area into a freshwater oasis. And now, 85, 86 years later, after he did that work, those species thrive along with the golf. And the challenge now is to restore it all, to improve the habitat, save the golf course, continue the community involvement, and have what would be the ultimate, and is the ultimate, win-win-win for everybody. It's not a zero-sum game. It's not you can only have the species and not the golf, or only the golf and not the species. You can indeed have it all. We're dedicated to making sure we have it all for everybody. And it's a feel-good project.
Wow. Well, clearly this was not done in the 21st century because George Sharp would have had to pay for the naming rights to make it Sharp Park. So
yeah,
that's really a different era. Now, I'm curious, did Alister MacKenzie, was he aware of these different species and did this intentionally to preserve these species?
Not really. I mean,
the
species really weren't there. I mean, there's some arguments back and forth, but I think the first red-legged frog wasn't sighted on this property till years after the golf course opened. And to my recollection, Fred, the first San Francisco garter snake was a very unique type of garter snake with very distinctive coloring. Wasn't sighted there until 1946. Golf course opened in 1932. So I don't know that MacKenzie set out specifically to do that. What he set out to do was create a natural paradise, an oasis that would imitate nature, mimic nature, and he created this incredible cultural landscape that has been recognized by everybody as incredible, invaluable, and a public treasure that's worthy of preservation, just as if it were a great painting in an art museum. It's something that should be there for the next generation to understand, to know, to love, and to enjoy, just as we've come to know it, love it, and enjoy it.
I'm kind of confused about something that's going on with this argument. If the frog and the snake have flourished in this area after it was developed, and so it's there and they're living there and they're thriving in it, why are there arguments that we can't continue with the way it is if they're thriving?
Well, first of all, no good deed goes unpunished. That's an old proverb, and it's kind of proven true here. But
stop all the legal talk, all right?
Every judge who's had this case, now been through 4 different courts, They've all rejected these arguments out of hand, because the fact is, and facts are stubborn, the golf course is good for the species. The golf course is the reason the species are there. And the golf course in and of itself is an historic resource. This is the work of a master. There are not very many Alister MacKenzie golf courses around the world that are open to the public, and in particular one that has the bones, if you will, that this one does. When you look at the original routing, the original maps of this golf course, we're playing the routing today. Some of the features have atrophied a little bit, but we're going to bring them back. What you have is literally Cypress Point for the common man. And euphemistically, the golf course has been known as the poor man's Pebble Beach. I'd say it's the poor man's Cypress Point. All of MacKenzie's design features, double tees, cloud-shaped bunkers, heaving greens, camouflage, strategic options, you name it, it's all there. And players are going to see it again when we're done restoring this place.
And so the restoration project, it doesn't mean you're going to, reshape it, rebuild it. What is exactly the restoration? I mean, because, sometimes renovation projects will happen and they'll bring in architects to move rocks and reshape greens and do things like that. What is this renovation trying to do?
What this is about is we've got the footprint on the ground. Okay, the holes are there. Of the original golf course, 12 of the 18 holes are still there, are still in play. The course needs drainage improvements. We want to have some more natural turf grasses used. The greens have shrunk. We want to bring those back with proper drainage. We want to redo the original bunkering. Basically, what we want to do is not change the course, but put back what was there. And in addition, we would like to reclaim one of the holes that's still there in the dunes that was abandoned in 1941 when the seawall was built, and I'll talk about that in a minute. It's not critical habitat for the frog and snake. We think there's a real possibility that hole can and should be restored. And so we want to bring back as much as we can of the original golf course. And it's not so much, there's no hole that's going to be moved around. The tee isn't going to be in a different spot. The green isn't going to be in a different spot. You're just going to play the same hole, but you're going to see it the way MacKenzie designed it, built it, and the way it opened in 1932. That's the idea.
There's something that keeps going in my head when we talk about 1929, 1932, the development, the building of this course. This is just around the time the Depression was hitting, correct?
That's exactly correct. And there's sort of an interesting historical imperative there, because some of the great monuments that we know today were built during the Depression. And we've got two of them right here in San Francisco. One's called the Bay Bridge and one's called the Golden Gate Bridge. Those were Depression era projects. Yeah. And Sharp Park stands right with them. In a lot of ways.
Was it federally funded, though, the way the other ones were?
No, well, Sharp Park was not. No, Sharp Park was totally a local project.
Okay.
But the point is, this was an example of government showing its people what the possibilities are. And if you think of a public park, you don't charge a fee to go into Golden Gate Park. You just go in there, you walk through it, and it's beautiful. And it restores you, it refreshes you, it renews you. Golf is public recreation. Of course, people pay a user fee when they play golf, but it's the same principle. It's that this is something that's open to everybody, first come, first serve, everybody's welcome, and everybody gets the benefit of it. And it's just an amazing recreational resource, and it's part of an overall recreational package. Again, this isn't golf at the expense of soccer or softball or basketball or anything else. It's golf taking its rightful place at the table with these other great activities that are available for everyone.
And another element on the historic side of it, this is all, I'm assuming, all part of the rebuilding of San Francisco after the 1906 earthquake destroyed the whole area.
Well,
is that part of it, or is
not
it
exactly,
so far afterwards?
Not exactly, because one of the things when I think of how much time we've been at this project, I'll get to the timeline in a minute, that San Francisco, if you look at photographs, earthquake happens in 1906, that city is back up and running inside of 5 years. It's amazing how fast they rebuilt it, just mind-boggling. particularly when you consider everything that you have to do today. One of the jokes is that the Oakland Bay Bridge.
I was going to bring that up.
3.5 years. We had the 1989 earthquake, which damaged a part of it, and it took them 10 years to build half of it, and now they got problems with it, which is kind of a commentary on modern methods, I guess.
Well, it took 10 years to build it, but still, 1989, how far were we removed from that? And how long did the bureaucracy take just to agree?
That's what I'm saying. You had all these studies, all this planning. They finally got it built at an unbelievable cost, and it's beautiful. It is beautiful. But now the rods are rusting inside a part of it, and they got to take them out and fix them. And it's time did not necessarily help that project. But getting back to Sharp, the effort to restore this area, and Sharp Park is bigger than just the golf course. It's a total of about 420 acres, of which the golf course is a little over 100. And since 1992. The city has been working on its plans to restore the whole park, along with other natural areas that the city has. And a lot of this work has been done. I mean, to give you an example, one of the prerogatives was to use recycled water on the golf course, which is totally appropriate. And the city just completed a $12 million project to do just that. And Sharp Park is now irrigated with recycled water. So, the city's investing in it, and we're just bringing in some philanthropic money to finish the job and make sure that what is restored there is worthy of Alister MacKenzie's legacy.
Are there other public courses beyond Harding Park in the San Francisco area that overshadow what's going on here?
Well, San Francisco has the greatest collection of public golf courses. It's a tremendous portfolio.
Isn't it amazing for such a small footprint?
Very small. The city has got 6 golf courses that the city owns and operates. And then a 7th, which is in the Presidio, the old Army base, which is a really cool golf course, one of the oldest 18-hole golf courses west of the Mississippi. But the city and county proper has Sharp Park, which probably has the deepest architectural bones with the MacKenzie connection. It's got Harding Park, which is the true championship arena, if you will, and Little Lincoln Park, which is only about 5,500 yards, but could be the most scenic course in the world with the views of the Golden Gate Bridge, San Francisco Bay, and downtown San Francisco. Mm-hmm. It's just a beloved course that we all grew up playing. And then there are 3 9-hole courses. There's Fleming, which is in the middle of Harding. There is a course called Glen Eagles, used to be named McLaren Park for John McLaren, which is a tremendously difficult hillside course in the southeast corner of San Francisco. And then there's little Golden Gate Park, 9 holes, which is now run by the First Tee of San Francisco. And just a little bit of a thing, but a very, very cool 9-hole course. If you want to do something in about an hour and 15 minutes for $20, you can't beat it. It's incredible.
Now we're just talking about the public courses. There's some also famous, infamous private courses in San Francisco as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Olympic Club has got 45 of the best holes you'll ever see. There's Lake Merced Golf Club just over the line at Daly City. And, of course, San Francisco Golf Club, which is probably one of the top 30 golf courses in the world, along with the lake course at Olympic.
Again,
very, very amazing. And when you put on top of that, the weather we've got, the wine country an hour away, skiing 3 hours away, Yosemite, Carmel, name it. I mean, I don't know how you do any better. I really don't.
And that's why the real estate prices are what they are, because there's so much to do 12 months a year.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, well, everybody wants to be here. You know,
yeah.
It has its own challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some amazing lines. I mean, Ken Venturi, I saw this quote that Ken Venturi said that Alister MacKenzie's great gift to American public golf course golfer. And it's the only seaside municipal course designed by MacKenzie. How many courses in the U.S. are Alister MacKenzie designs?
Oh, God, it kind of depends how you count. Because there are some courses that literally nobody's ever heard of. There's a little 9-hole course at Mare Island off San Francisco Bay that he did. There are 50 to 100 of them around the country. There are courses that he did that a lot of people don't know that he did. And I'm going to give you an example. One of the enduring mysteries here is whether MacKenzie drew the plans for the Fleming course. It's inside of Harding. We stumbled upon a newspaper article in 1930. He was inspecting the property with the eye of expanding the little practice area to a full 9 holes there. Now, did he draw the plans? Were those the plans that were used to build that course? Nobody knows for sure. But we're sure wondering about it. We're looking into it. He redesigned Lake Merced. He had a hand in the California Golf Club. He did Green Hills. He did Claremont. He did Meadow Club, which is an unbelievable course over in Marin County. He did Northwood up by the Russian River. He's got his fingerprints all over the place, including having done a 3-hole course for some guy down in Hillsborough that doesn't exist there anymore. It's in somebody's backyard. So wow. MacKenzie has been all over Northern California, big time.
Now, we're talking about a battle that's going on in the San Francisco. It's a city battle. Why is it that San Francisco is involved in owning and operating golf courses? And are there other municipalities that have that as well? Or is this?
There are. I mean, Baltimore has courses. Milwaukee has courses. St. Louis has courses. Los Angeles has courses. Rancho Park. Okay. It's from a bygone era. A lot of localities built golf courses for public recreation. Some localities still build them. And one of the things that, again, we just talked about Olympic and San Francisco and Lake Merced, Cal Club, all that stuff. And those are phenomenal golf courses. And I'm an architecture geek, so I love them. But what people forget, Fred, is that over 80% of America's golf is played on public courses, places like Sharp Park. And that's why it's so important that those facilities are there. So the game will be available to people in the future. One of the things I speak a lot about publicly is that golf as an activity provides so many benefits to people aside from raw physical exercise. If I want to teach a young person about perseverance, respect for rules, self-confidence, all kinds of values, judgment, strategy, all of that, honesty, integrity, I put them on a golf course and just let them walk around there and whack the ball around for a while. And you get them hooked on that. They get the lessons, they get the game, they get the whole package, and they become better people for it. They become better citizens for it. And we become a better community because they're in it because of golf. And so it has a real role to play as part of the community and as part of an overall recreational package.
It's just preaching to the choir.
In my view, it's the most complete activity that one could ever imagine. And I like playing basketball, softball. I do all that stuff. Not any good at those things, but I do them. And this is just a part of that continuum. It just has these benefits that, you see so many people who are super accomplished who play golf all their life. Yeah. And whether it's presidents, whether it's business leaders, whether it's just the ordinary mom and pop. I'm always fascinated. The Warriors are now the rage here, going at 66 and 7 or whatever it is. Steph Curry and Andre Iguodala are golf maniacs.
Yep.
And with good reason.
There was that phenomenal bet they had with Kerr that if they won the championship, then he was going to get them and pay for a round at Augusta.
I think they want to go back. You might watch that in the playoffs. They want to go back.
Yeah, I would think so. Now, I'm fascinated, again, I'm talking about the municipality and being owned and operated by a city. When cities are having, and counties and states, everybody's having financial issues and crises. Is a golf course an asset to be running like that, or should it be privatized? Because there's so many companies that own and operate golf courses.
Let me just say this, that you hear the word privatization, and it's a bad word for a lot of folks, and I don't even use it. And it's not because there's any kind of a hidden agenda. Places like Sharp Park should always be public. They should be open to the public, and they should be affordable so that anybody can play and nobody is barred because they can't afford it. That to me is a given. The reality is there are a lot of communities that are financially challenged, whether it's because of pension debts or whatever. There's a challenge there. And one of the things that golfers just need to be aware of, tuned into, and ready to participate in is they have to support public golf, and not just by going out and paying a greens fee. Maybe they have to form the right charitable entity in their community to support and supplement, in some cases perhaps even subsidize, public golf courses, so those courses have the TLC that they need to endure for generations to come. And I think the best analogy I know of, Fred, is any college campus in America. Where do those resources come from that fill up the libraries and fill up the laboratories and provide for scholarships? They come from the alumni, and we're all the alumni. And I think it's our solemn duty, if we're golfers and we really want to wear that moniker, we have to participate in this way to make sure this game is there and not just in existence, that it's there, it's vibrant, and it's strong for the people who are going to come after us. We can do it. We must do it. We will do it. And, I get going on this, but I'll never stop talking about that, because that's the cause. That's the fight. That's the challenge. And we will rise up and we will meet that challenge. We will do it. The PGA of America
sounds like an election year, man.
Does a lot of good stuff. The USGA does a lot of good stuff. The Northern California Golf Association, the Southern California Golf Association have stepped up. They've all helped us. And people can see the possibilities. There's so many examples of this around the country. They just did some work on a course called Goat Hill down in San Diego. John Ashworth did a lot of work on that. And these are great projects. And they're projects that unite a community. And, one of my big mantras is golfers spend a lot of time talking to each other. We have to talk to non-golfers so that they understand our passion and understand what it is we see out there that's so special for us, because it can be special for them too. Golf courses are great places to take a walk on a Sunday afternoon. They close St. Andrews and you don't play golf there. You'll walk the course on Sunday. And I'm not suggesting we have to shut down golf courses every Sunday, but golf courses need to be parts of the communities where they reside. At Sharp, there's this phenomenal local culture. A lot of people ask me, is it going to change? And I said, if I thought it was going to change, I wouldn't still be doing this. We're doing this to preserve that culture so it can last and live and always be there as a light for people, because it's an incredibly diverse, open, welcoming place. And that's what a golf course always should be.
And this is not the first time you've been involved in helping to save a local public golf course. You were involved. Harding Park was almost gone, right? And you were involved with that?
I was, one of the things I do, I take pictures from time to time. And I had some pictures of the cracked greens, the wiring coming out of the wall in the clubhouse. And Sandy Tatum is really the hero of that battle. If it weren't for him, Harding Park would be dust. I'll just tell you that. And there are a lot of us who were foot soldiers for him, and proudly so. But Sandy gets the credit for that. And they honored him with a rock, and they honored him with a clubhouse. And even that's not enough. There ought to be a statue of him out there. I was involved in that. And, look, years and years ago, when I decided I wanted to write a golf book, I wrote a book called Follow the Wind about a young boy who meets up with Ben Hogan. And I wanted to, there you go.
You know what? I found this, I got to say quickly.
To set
I found this in my, go ahead.
I wanted to set that book at Lincoln Park. because that's where I grew up. And that place has such deep bonds and deep meaning for me that I wanted to make sure that, in a way, it was set down that no matter what happened, Lincoln Park was always going to live on. And, you do things like that because they're the right thing to do. I didn't do it to make any money or anything else. I did it because it was right. And now when somebody thinks of Lincoln, maybe they think of a kid walking through the trees, walking through the old graveyard and coming upon the Iceman, the Hawk, Bantam Ben. And there's a movement now to do at Lincoln what we've done at Sharp, to restore it, bring it back so that it can too return to glory and be one of these places that another generation will enjoy just as we've known it.
I go quickly. I got to say about your book. I had told you previously that the reason I started doing the Golf Smarter podcast 10 years ago was because I was motivated by the book Zen Golf by Joe Parent. Yeah. And after we got talking, I went through my personal golf library here, and I found a boarding pass that I was using as a bookmark from 2002.
So where were you going?
Yeah, well, this is a boarding pass in Chicago. I don't know what I was doing in Chicago. I must have been changing planes, but I kept this but the fact is that this was well before, and I remember the story. I mean, there are strong images in my head from this book, and I highly recommend if you're a golf enthusiast that's not looking for tips and you're just looking for a great story. There are a couple of phenomenal books. This is one of them. And of course, Michael Murphy's book is also up there, right?
Yeah, people told me this is Golf in the Kingdom, but you understand it. And I know Michael, and he's a great guy, and I love that book
dude, he's been on the show multiple times.
Half of it got a little crazy.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. But movies, same thing. They went out there. Yeah. So let's talk about the call to action and what people can do, because, this is not just a San Francisco issue. Saving public golf is an issue that is global, really. One of
the things that folks can do immediately is go to sfpublicgolf.org, sign up, become part of our coalition. It's free. There's no charge. It doesn't cost you anything. You sign up, you'll get email updates. We keep you posted as to where we are, what we're doing. And, in that immediate way, you're part of the team. Secondly, people can make donations. Again, it's 501c3. It's tax deductible. It's a good cause. No better cause that I know of. And number three, we've got our annual MacKenzie celebration at Sharp Park, Saturday, June 4th. It's a great event. It's going to sell out. It always does, but we've still got, still early. We've got some openings. It's all day. There's a shotgun in the morning. There's a shotgun in the afternoon. And that golf course will be completely full of people who are there because they too want to save Sharp Park. And you can sign up on our website to do that. It's a great day. It's a lot of fun. Got a great barbecue. We got a great reception when we're done. It's just a real kick to do it. People love it. It's very happy. It's very friendly. And we got, I'm sort of the impresario of the tee prizes. We got another killer tee prize this year that people will love and be able to spread the message around as they travel away from there. So, all good. Come on out June 4th. And even if you can't play golf, come to the reception and be part of it. We have a silent auction. You get to see the folks, good booze, good time, good food, good vibes, all there.
Dude, you're teasing me like crazy. What's the tee prize?
I'm not telling you. You got to show up to get it. But let me say this. I will say that 3 years ago, we did a cool Mondo Mark ball marker with Mackenzie's autograph on it. We did a applique sweatshirt, Save Sharp Park, Alister's autograph across the front.
Nice.
We did a vest, very similar. We did a head cover, a leather head cover. It says Save Sharp Park, Alister MacKenzie, 1932, San Francisco Public Golf Alliance, Alister MacKenzie Foundation, that you see all over the world now. And we've got something this year that is a worthy companion to all of that. So we look forward to everybody turning out June 4th. It's going to be a good day. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I guarantee anybody who comes, you will not be disappointed.
So Sharp Park is open to the public now. You can go and play it now.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's
because it's
like
so
$28
interesting
on the weekend. I mean, it's ridiculous.
It's so interesting to me because since we started having our conversation a couple of weeks ago about having you on the podcast, I've been out on the golf course and I've played with a variety of people and have asked all of my friends and all of these golfers that I play with, have you ever played Sharp Park? And they're saying, what is Sharp? It's mind-boggling that so few people know about this gem that we have hidden, tucked away just south of San Francisco.
Let me give you another side of that. I gave a talk about 4 months ago at the American Society of Golf Course Architects. And every one of those people knew about Sharp Park. They all knew about it. And I didn't have to tell them. And I've had a number of ASCGA members out there because I wanted them to see it, not just hear about it, see it. And every one of them I brought out there has absolutely lost their mind at how beautiful it is, how special it is, and they see the potential. And you know what? They all ask me, and it's been more than one of them, does the city understand what it's got here? And my answer is, I'm damn well going to make sure they know. And so is Rich Harris, my colleague, and all our 6,500 members. That's why we did the book, Alister MacKenzie's Legacy of Public Golf, at Alister MacKenzie Sharp Park, because this place is special. And if you'll permit me a little history on how I really stumbled on it.
Please.
It's kind of part of the story because I grew up here and I played it since maybe 1961 or 2. I didn't know at the time who designed it. I didn't even know who Alister MacKenzie was back then. But I had heard the stories. I didn't believe them because I'm a skeptic by nature. I played the course. I loved the golf course. I thought it was really cool. But then when Sandy Tatum and I were talking during one of our meetings on Sharp Park, he says, we got to do Sharp, on the Harding rather, excuse me. He says, we got to do Sharp. And I said, well, let me look into that. So one of my little closet hobbies is I like to go down to the public library and read old newspapers. I just happen to enjoy that. And I did it in looking up stuff about Hogan in the San Francisco City Golf Championship. And I wanted to go back and see what I could find on Sharp Park. And I didn't expect to find very much. And what do I stumble upon? A map that they published when MacKenzie and Egan and Hunter started their work. And my jaw almost fell off. I just couldn't believe what I was looking at. And let me give you one real architectural geek inside architecture thing.
Please.
Alister MacKenzie really became famous in this country and around the world when he won an architecture contest in 1914. It was sponsored in Country Life magazine by Charles Blair MacDonald, the father of American golf, who was planning to build a course on Long Island at a place called Lido. And the contest was to design the finishing hole on this golf course. And there were entries from all over the world, and MacKenzie won the contest. And the hole that he built, which has an island that you drive onto, it's got about 4 or 5 different routes to the green. It was a 2-shot hole. It's a foot par. That has forever been known as MacKenzie's Lido hole. And it's the holy grail for golf course architects. If you look at almost any book about golf course architecture, you will see a reproduction of that hole. Fast forward, MacKenzie gets the job to design Sharp Park. So what does he do as part of that design? He creates this freshwater lagoon, and on opposite sides of it, he builds not one, but two Lido holes. He takes his design from that Country Life contest and he lays it down in the dirt, mirror images on both sides of the lagoon. It's the only place in the world where he did that. Wow. And they're still there. Those two holes are still there. And that's why we fight so hard. That's why it's so special. And that's just one small facet of the overall design. It'd be one thing if I said, well, that's it, that's all we got. It's all there. The multiple fairways, multiple tees, wide expanses where you can pick a route and pick your approach, the cloud-shaped bunkering, the camouflage, all the strategic options, the heaving greens. This is a treasure trove where MacKenzie indulged his every theory. Every creative impulse he had, he turned loose here. And one of the reasons he was able to do it, he didn't have an owner looking over his shoulder. And I think in a way, I don't know this to be true, he might have done this thinking, if these guys are crazy enough to build it, I'm going to design it for them. And lo and behold, he said, yeah, we'd like you to actually build that thing. And he did. And it was incredible. It still is incredible. And it's going to be incredible forever when we get done doing this work on it.
Well, I can't wait to get out there. And I really hope that you accompany me, that we get to go out and play together. I'm really looking forward to going out there.
Well, that would be my honor, my pleasure. And what I tell everybody is read about it, get involved, pay attention, but most important of all, go there, play it. Because once you do, you will understand better than I could ever express what this fight is all about. So what I leave every audience with is stay with us until the job is done.
Stay tuned.
It's going to be worth it.
Yeah. All right. Well, before you leave us, though, you have to answer the question that I'm sure you're asked every time. But I can't leave without saying, Bo Links is your real name?
That is my real name.
So perfect. The only name even close that's that good for a golf person is my dog's name. Tita is my dog's name, but with our last name, she's Tita Greene.
Well, pretty good. When I wrote Follow the Wind, my editor at Simon & Schuster is a wonderful guy named Jeff Newman, who now is the editor of Met Golfer, a great guy. And he was telling me how he would have people who knew Hogan who would talk to him and say, this has got to be a put-up name. This has to have been written by somebody inside the family. Nobody ever psychoanalyzed a guy like this. It's got to be an inside job. He says, no, it's actually this guy's name. He lives out in San Francisco. And it was quite an adventure. And believe me, I am happy with the name. I get a lot of free drinks in Scotland because of it. And I don't turn them down.
Of course not. All right. Well, Bo Links, thank you so much for this education. And everyone should go to sfpublicgolf.com, follow on Twitter. .org. I'm sorry. We'll do it again.
.org.
sfpublicgolf.org.
Yeah.
You can follow them on Twitter at sfpublicgolf. Sign up for the golf tournament that's coming up on June 4th of 2016. Or just go to the website, participate, donate, be a supporter, and learn more about Alister MacKenzie Design. Bo, it's been awesome. Thank you
Fred,
so much.
Thanks for giving us the audience. And, there's a whole lot. I mean, Sharp Park, believe me, is a real big part of my life and a part of Rich Harris's life, too, and all our members. But there's a lot of other golf stuff, too, to talk about. And I'm always happy to, come on and shoot the breeze with you. I really appreciate the opportunity to spread the word about what I truly do believe is the greatest cause that I've ever been involved in. And if you're a golfer, this is a cause that is for golfers, by golfers, for the community, and for the world. So thanks again for giving us the audience.